Hey, it's Mostly Hong Kong, aka Ugly Peanut, and I'm filming this video for the second time because the first time I did it, I tried out like this new angle, but it just turned out to be really awkward, and I got bored even editing it. So yeah, if you want to just see the artwork, I'll put a timestamp up in the corner, but I'm gonna just like give a little context about my college so you know why this artwork isn't the best. That sounds like an excuse, but really I'm not an art major, so I thought I'd still just share with you guys my sketchbook from the class and my bigger project designs that I did. Also for this class, I'm gonna do a video a little bit later where I went to a different campus that my university has, but for this one, the drawing one, I went to the non-main campus. Like my school has like the huge campus in the city, and then they have a bunch of little like satellite campuses is what I've heard some people call it. This campus I went to didn't have a lot of art classes. Studio class is, this one isn't really a studio, it was just in a large room with a bunch of windows. Yeah, this wasn't like the best art class I could have taken, but all that to say, I still really enjoyed it. I loved the professor, this lady from Poland. She was great, like she was so funny and just so like adorable. I loved her, and it was still a really good class. I loved my classmates and stuff like that, but to reiterate again, it wasn't like the best art class I could have taken ever for like an art education. We didn't even do a lot of different things. Sometimes we spent too much time on certain topics. This sketchbook is not even like halfway full, and I only did like 3 larger scale drawings. I feel like I'm complaining a lot, but like I said, I love the class and I did learn a lot in the class. So now I'll just go ahead and get into showing you guys what's in the sketchbook. Just a warning, this isn't going to be the most steady tripod work. My tripod recently broke. But there's just some papers that we'll come back to in the beginning. You'll see these sticky notes on the back. It's just notes of what we're doing in class. I went ahead and was already planning this video at the beginning of the semester. I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well right here, but this is just the first thing we learned in the class was how to make sure our drawings were centered. So just created even spaces from the edges of the paper and drew an oval. And the goal is just to start in the oval so you wouldn't go off the page, because I know I've done it too among like probably lots of other artists where you start up here and then your drawing ends up only being this big, and so you have this chunk of white space, or you go off the side or something like that. So it was a really good idea and it really did help. So with this line drawing, we were focusing on proportions and getting things just to look realistic and accurate. The professor taught us this really cool technique. It's just getting the proportions right using like the ratio of your pencil in a way. Here is just another one. This one was a lot harder than the other one because you had to make sure it was all like lined up that way too, and diagonal, and just get all those proportions right, as well as the angle of the pencil and stuff like that. Next, we went and did a brief thing on shading. We kind of just did this on our own. I mean, she did explain, you know, the use of the different pencils and stuff. A lot of us already knew that, but she wanted us just to go in and practice using a very light hand and then just building up shadows. We had like this whole like art club conference during the middle of it. This was just kind of not busy work, but just practice like the whole day. This next thing was really interesting. She wanted us to look at an object that was right side up and draw it upside down. So this was mirrored the other way. It seemed harder than it actually was, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool, and that also had to do with like the next like actual like project. She didn't really assign projects per se like one of the other classes I've taken, but yeah, it was this mirrored, so yeah, it was flipped that way. And I really like how she taught us to shade. I know how to shade, but she really did it to be as smooth as possible. Like she did not want any like harsh lines and stuff like that, because I know sometimes like I can just like have like lines going all the same direction, but she wanted it smooth to where you couldn't see pencil lines. This was not done with a blending tool. That was also what was really interesting. Next, we just did drawing of our own hand with the same shading technique, and also with not copying another artist's like artwork that we liked. This is Salvador Dali's, I'm blanking out on the name on it, but I'll put it up on the screen. Obviously it's not finished. I forgot that I did not finish this, but I was surprised like how good it turned out. I mean, it took me a really long time, but I don't think I've ever done something this well, especially like copying another drawing. I mean, I can usually copy, but it usually looks really off, and this one has some things about it that are off, but they're not like too off. Yeah, I'm really proud of this one, and I should really go back and finish it. Next, we worked with charcoal. I did not finish this one because I came to class like an hour late. We did use like a paper towel to blend this because, oh yeah, so kind of a funny story is that the only thing we had to buy for this class was sketchbooks and, you know, the different types of pencils, because the teacher bought all the supplies we would need for class with the art club money, and she justified that by saying the art class was the art club. And so the administration, student life is what they call it at mine, and so she like told that to them in a way. She's like, no, this is the art club, and they're like, but these people just came and said they were your art class, and she's like, no, but they're in the art club and the art class. She like just like totally like lied to their face in a way. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well. It was funny and nice how she did that because we didn't have to spend a lot of money on the class, so that was super sweet. I'll throw a picture of it on the screen. We watched this movie in class on Andy Goldworthy. Yeah, that's what it says. And so she wanted us to try and create something in nature like what he did, and so yeah, that was my picture. And then we were supposed to sketch our classmates, but I never got around to that because I was working on finishing this. Was the first large scale drawing we did, and we had a couple different props. I chose this deer head. I'm not really good at like animals because of the fur, but I'm actually kind of proud of how this turned out with all the textures, and she really did spend a lot of time with me individually and other people like teaching us how to get the textures right. This was just again a test of proportions and making sure we understood charcoal as a medium. Then the next thing we were supposed to do in our sketchbook was like draw people we saw walking around in the school in like 10 seconds or less, or like 30 seconds or less. We were supposed to like look at them and then draw them as they were like walking away. She really wanted us to capture motion, and she didn't care if it was like a good little sketch or like this. I mean, she didn't want stick figures, she said, but like take the stick figures and like add to them, which is what I did here a lot. So as long as we captured the movement, she was happy, and she wanted us to do like 100 of these, and I didn't finish 100, but she still gave me the grade. And these are just little notes of what the people were doing. So yeah, I'm really proud of a few of these, how they turned out in capturing the motion. Oh, that was a group of my friends I found and was talking to them. And the art teacher really liked that one. She was gone out sick for an entire week, and she told us to draw 3 landscape pictures, and we weren't sure if she meant like landscape as in landscape versus portrait, or if she meant like outdoor landscape. Turned out she just meant like the horizontal landscape. So yeah, I didn't even finish them because I took the time she was gone to do other schoolwork, and I mean, she still ended up giving me the grade for it. This was just a picture of like my boyfriend's room. That was a picture of some duck on my phone, and I was just trying to finish this the day it was due, the day she got back from being sick. I hate it, it's trash. And then this was another picture of my phone on a lake. I did this one in charcoal, started doing that, and yep, again, never finished it. Then next we moved on to colored pencil. This was kind of like a scary unit slash topic for me because I work really well in grayscale and not necessarily in colored. Another side note, this was something else the professor really taught us how to do when we were learning with pencil and charcoal, was following the actual like values of the object and not just trying to do the values of the color we saw with the object. Because like the deer head was like tan, and everyone kept doing like a lighter tan and not following the actual way the light was hitting it. Back to this, yeah, I was scared because I'm not really good with color, and I still didn't do very well with it, but I tried. So yep, so that was a 1 inch by 1 inch, and then she wanted us to do a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter little tiny thing. Yeah, I did not care for that at all. This in here was the larger colored pencil drawing she wanted to do. Usually we did like small practice sketches, as you can see, and then did a larger drawing. She told us to pick something small out of our book bag and then draw it. This is one of the little Bath and Body Works hand sanitizers, if you recognize it. I think it turned out like really well, surprisingly. She taught us some good techniques when using colors, like cool colors make things darker, warm colors will add brightness to areas. Then to explain this, oh my gosh, this was like a nice highlight like that, and I had done a little bit of blue like right here, and you know, we had like the Prismacolor pencils, and they have like a blending one that came with it, and you know, that works for the rest of the drawing pretty much. But when I did it here, like there was just enough blue and gray that it like went and did this whole block, so not happy about that. So then after that we moved to using pastels and working on and going towards a final drawing of a skeleton. So we had to pick one piece of the skeleton and use pastels to do that. Have another little side note, I had always like hated pastels, and I never like was good at them, but then I found out why when we did this class, because when I'd ever use pastels, like, you know, in like the elementary, like middle school art classes, they were oil pastels. So I don't like oil pastel, but I like the regular kind of chalky ones. Those are like really fun to use, just I don't care for the oil ones. So don't know why I have another blank page here. Oh yeah, that's the last thing that was in the sketchbook. Here we have the whole skeleton we were supposed to do. The leg was missing and it looks a little bit out of proportion, but the actual skeleton we were copying was a little bit out of proportion. I really like how it turned out, in my opinion. I tried to get it centered up, but as you can see, I did the thing. You can see here a little bit of a better example with the warm tones bringing it forward, and then the cool tones in the back pushing objects away. The final project was a self-portrait with pastels. Yay! I'm actually kind of proud of how this turned out. There are some things off about it for sure. It's technically not finished on how she wanted us to do it, but it was the last day of class and I was just really trying to rush and finish. So I did not draw my shoulders here. Instead, I just did this kind of like bust style, like a little bit of the chest and shoulders. And then she also wanted to have like a background to it, like just kind of like a gradient, one color background, which obviously I did not get to. And also to finish in time, I had glasses in my hair, but I ran out of time to really like be able to focus on those. So I just erased the glasses at the top, and that's why my bangs look kind of ratchet. And I will tell you another little story about how I got super upset with the professor. This is voiceover me because I rambled on and on forever about that. So what happened was that I asked the professor for some advice on shading and coloring my lips because I wanted a natural color, not red or like straight up pink. That's how my reference photo was. Previously, when I'd asked her about shading, she'd just given me a color and told me to work with that. And so I did a little bit of shading, but if you know me, when I draw and stuff, I like to skip around on kind of all over the drawing because I get bored working on one section for too long. And sometimes in my brain, I need to do one part before I like can finish shading. Like I need to do the mouth before I can finish shading around the mouth. I think that was my logic. So I asked her about it, and so when she sat down to look at my drawing, she looked at it closer and was like, "Oh, how was the shading?" I was like, "Oh, I didn't finish yet. I'm gonna go back to that." And she's like, "Well, it needs to be darker." And so she picked up the color I was using and went ahead and started doing it, which that kind of irritated me because, I mean, I don't mind if she helps and stuff like that, but I had already said I would finish it. But what she did made my nose look botched because she even looked at my reference photo, and here's a photo of what she did. Yeah, like that, like my nostrils are so off and it's so just bad. Yeah, my facial proportions aren't exactly right and I didn't do it right in the first place, but what I had down for my shading did not look like my nostrils were diagonal and crooked. I know it doesn't seem like I had a lot of drawings, and I really didn't, but I did take another art class this semester. Like, I took this one in the fall 2019, and I took one spring 2020. And we also didn't do like a ton of artwork. It is hard to teach a student all the work and then also give them practice stuff and assignments, then give them a project to do showing all the skills they learned from the unit or topic. We had 15 weeks to do that, and it's kind of hard, but overall I really loved, like I said, the classmates and the professor. I really enjoyed the class. I recommend, if you're going to college or in college, definitely like take a art class, just because drawing one class, it was full of people who had never drawn anything in their life, and they ended up being great. And if you aren't great anyway, for some reason, you still learn some good skills, and you're not terrible, I promise. It's just a matter of like paying attention to detail, in my opinion, to being able to draw. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned to my channel for my artwork from 2D Design. Bye!